Hello, welcome to the first episode of Prop Workshop. In today's video, we are working on a Yeti. Let's get building. Okay, off to building the work area to build my Yeti. So first off is to figure out scaling of feet, and then the scaling of feet usually determines the size and the scale of my model, basically. I'm using these parts like I would with clay and stuff like that, so first down would be the nails for his feet, his toenails. So those are the thick border they're not half pieces, they're like quarter pieces. They're like the little like door things, whatever they're called. So using shapes mainly for structural and for skeleton to give me a shape of what I want. I used a lot of shapes in this build to give it that, I don't know, that hunched over pose that I wanted for the Yeti, and I wanted his arms to be up high, like he's going to scare somebody. So scary arms up high to scare or eat his foe that he's basically up against or wants to go eat. So fixing a little bit of the back here kind of was weird. From this, sometimes tip is when building some things with the shapes is that angle always sometimes, or perspective, changes the way you place it. So keep in mind that you can wrap around, look around at all angles and see what's up. Here's the first sections of building the face. So this is going to be the cylinder would be for its mouth, and then I used half spheres for the top jaw and the bottom jaw. I like that how this worked out. Sometimes it just builds itself together, and if you have to start over or reevaluate, stuff like that. So I'm going to build the nose, and then a little bit of a bigger forehead to where the eyes and things will go, and paint it blue to kind of simulate this is the face, and then everything else that's white should be where the fur goes. In building this, I wasn't going to build fur for it. I was going to leave it blank like this, and I just felt like that it was going to turn out if I left it blank. So that's going to be later on how I put on the fur. So here's the teeth. Teeth were very simple, using of the cone shapes, upside down and normal, or inverted as it's called. Placement of eyes, usually that gives the character a lot of its characteristics, is when you finally do the eyes. And then I'm going to do the eyebrows. The eyebrows again are the same shape that I used for his toenails, the same block. And oh, just a reminder, this is all on Anarchy, so if you want to try to reproduce this in your own build or something, just to remind you guys, you need to have Anarchy on to help with the breaking of the grid, because those border pieces are grid based, and everything else is here would be, technically speaking, would be by vanilla. If you change maybe the toenails to a different part, maybe with shapes. So onto building the hands for Mr. Yeti. That was a little bit of a hard part because I didn't realize when I built him diagonally that his fingers needed to be not diagonal, so I used the shapes, the cube shape, to give him those fingers. I think this worked out pretty well, even though it's like kind of cube art like, but I think it worked out okay. I have to keep in mind when building some creatures and stuff like that to maybe keep them straight in grid or not. I like making them diagonal because this could be used as a prop for a coaster, maybe he's on a corner where a turn happens, or he's coming out of a cave or something. So here's on to the most time-consuming part of this build, was the hair pieces. I used the half pillar block, the thickest one, and I just kind of like just stacked it all over his arms, his body, give it that hair looking, and then the hair's kind of like drooping from his arm. I used some bigger pillars a little bit too, I think, but I think I mainly used the half pillar just to kind of give it that. It looked like hair when I started putting it together and clumping it together in places, and I think this works out really well. I might use this technique in other builds too. So the main idea for building this Yeti is to put it in a coaster build that I want to do. I haven't done it in a while. See, I have a series called Coaster Worlds where each coaster that I built that's fully decorated, and it has its own theming and yet story and different worlds. And so I did a snow one before, but I might do a different snow one. So this other coaster might be maybe more of a Everest maybe type of build, so that's kind of why I built a Yeti for that coaster, and I think the coaster is gonna be maybe the mine train coaster again. I want to build a mine train coaster again because I haven't built one in a long time. But this time it's gonna be not Western; it'll be more, I don't know, Everest style building, like Expedition Everest in Animal Kingdom. So I want to do that, and so that's why I built this Yeti for that project, and that project will be later on in another video, probably, maybe, hopefully a smaller series, not as big. But I want to continue with this series too, periodically with the other videos that I'm making, to do prop stuff. So you'll see things like I'll be building other props of other sizes and things like that, and just show you kind of the behind the scenes of how I build those pretty cool looking props that you guys have seen on Reddit and the Discord and stuff like that. So maybe the next episode will be on a car, a truck, maybe a train. I've been have the other ideas, maybe like a steamboat of some sort, or things like that. I think I'm gonna do another dragon. I did a dragon in that Zaldonia map. That's the haunted island map from the campaign, stuff like that. So now the Yeti's kind of coming together as you see the pillars kind of fill in all the spaces and kind of cover up all the cylinders that I originally put in to give him that bone structure. And it kind of starts to look like hair. I kind of like the look of it, actually. He's quite expensive prop. He's like $1,000 prop or something. So here's the finished Yeti. He will be appearing on the workshop very soon, and you guys can use him in your builds if you want. But this is kind of behind the scenes of how I build a prop in Parkitect. See you guys later.